I'm an activist, I'm a women's rights activist, I'm a gender-based violence activist, I'm an ambassador for the GBV Cup in South Africa. So the first step to people who are being abused is to accept that I'm in an abusive relationship or I'm being abused. So it can be able to report, because you never report if you don't accept it. It's like people with disabilities, they don't exist at all. We don't understand them. We don't want to understand them. Instead, we impose and think for them, these are the needs that they need. I think we need to be sensitized as society, as the communities. We need to empower them. We need to include them. Inclusivity, it needs to take place in our society so that we can include them. We can hear their voices. Their voices can be represented in all spaces. Hello, my name is Bonisile. Welcome to People Living with Disability podcast. Today we have an exciting and educational episode. We're going to learn about GBV. So today we have Chris. Hi Chris, can you please introduce yourself? Hello, my name is Chris Maseko. I'm an activist, I'm a women's rights activist, I'm a gender-based violence activist, I'm an ambassador for the GBV Cup in South Africa. Oh, I was going to ask you, what are you doing for a living? So you've covered that all up. Is that you do for a living, Val? Yes, that's what I do, but I'm also an education and development practitioner, where I do a lot of trainings in terms of SOS, in getting to GBV, to HIV and AIDS and other GBV-related issues. Okay. So have you had an encounter the cases for people living with disabilities in GBV? Ukhona nje umuntu uya-encounter naye nje? Sadly, yes, and there are a lot. However, at the end of the day, we are not quite sure if they get assistance that they need to get at the end of the day, because I once had a client where she couldn't speak, and she was abused by the husband, and he was beating her, and I'm a raper, When she got to the police station, she couldn't relate it better, and she couldn't write. So it was so difficult to get a story out of her, and you can see her frustration, which she felt with the justice system is failing her, because no one understood whatever that she was saying. She would show the bruises because she couldn't utter to us. So that's one of the stories that I will always remember. But at the end of the day, I felt the criminal justice system has failed that poor woman. Yeah, and the police station, they don't help. They don't have interpreters. Yeah, most of the time they don't have, they outsource. So there's no one who's based at the station that would be an interpreter, but they have to outsource outside to find someone that can interpret for them. I think they should hire umuntu unga translator, an interpreter for that cases, because sometimes if they get there, they won't get help. That's why I think sometimes most of them, they don't go to police station to report because of ukuthi abekho nje ama-interpreter. Look, there are a lot of reasons actually, but that is one of the reasons why people living with disabilities cannot report, because they fear judgment, they fear not being understood, and some of the areas, most of them we know it's a norm. We don't have access for disability. We don't. The person is in a wheelchair and their steps. How are they going to get to the office to make a report? And there are no interpreters, and specifically not police station only. Even our hospitals, our clinics, when they get there, who communicates with them? How do the sisters get to understand that this woman has an STI, or this woman seeks sexual reproductive health rights assistance? So it's a challenge in South Africa in terms of access to in terms of a disability for a community, because they can't access services because of such issues. You go to at least the court, at least we have interpreters at our courts, but the police stations, the clinics, we still have a lot to do in terms of sensitizing abantu, the general public, the service providers, but importantly, we still have a lot in empowering abantu with disabilities so that they can stand for us and fight to say, I want to get in and make a report. You need to find that person that can interpret for me. Yeah, we still have a lot of it to do. We still have a long way to go, honestly, as a country. Yeah, as a country. As a country, yeah. Okay, without mentioning any names, can you tell us the story about people with a disability, kule GVB?
There's a story that I would like to share. Ne? She didn't have a disability. However, due to abuse, she had a disability. She was a young woman. She was 22 years old. And the boyfriend apparently got massive boots in Wamkahirala. She became blind completely. And yeah, it was one of those sad stories that I had with, people staying in a relationship, not being aware that at the end of the day, this can cause a disability on you. And again, that story that I was sharing of a woman who couldn't speak, for me, it stuck with me because I felt if resources were there, the case was going to be addressed there and there. The case was going to be open. She was going to take to the center for legal checkups and all that. But it took us the entire day to assist that woman because we didn't have resources, basically. The husband basically, who were trying to come and support. I'm Tuga, I'm Shaya, I'm Stava, like I'm Kiele Romini, so she couldn't go out. And Noma Penga Umnyango, people couldn't understand what she was saying, Noma Penga Umnyango. At the end of the day, people are judgmental. Some will say she's mentally ill, because she couldn't speak, she couldn't communicate Nabandu. So it was such a case in a sense, it shows how we are unsensitized as a community, especially in terms of disability. We always stand there and judge and we always ignore them. It's like people with disabilities, they don't exist at all. We don't understand them. We don't want to understand them. Instead, we impose and think for them, these are the needs that they need, I think we need to be sensitized as society, as the communities. We need to empower them. We need to include them. Inclusivity, it needs to take place in our society so that we can include them. We can hear their voices. Their voices can be represented in all spaces, basically, because it's not about only those service provision. Eteksini, sometimes it becomes a challenge for a woman that has been beaten or often that has been raped, is bleeding. People will never understand why she's bleeding and they'll be attacking her and saying all sorts of things. But if we are sensitized in trying to be inclusive and be understanding and understand that we are not there to judge, we are not there to lead them, we are there to hear from them how they want us to assist in any regards that they need assistance from us. It is especially for women and girls. It's a difficult journey. I'm telling you, the young girls, they get to school raped, they can't communicate. Even if they tell teachers, sometimes I feel even where people with disabilities are based or they feel it's their safe space, they're not safe. Because you find young girls that have been raped in these boarding schools and whatsoever, but still the kids are not taken seriously. The child has been raped by the teacher, but no one raised that. No one talk about that. We'll only find out when the child is pregnant. And when the child is being interviewed, the child will say, this has been happening for a long time. And I've been telling Osoro and so, they never took me seriously. So I feel as a country, I'm keep on saying as a country, as we are so unsensitized in the spaces that people are supposed to be safe. Those are also dangerous spaces for them. Our homes, our schools, our churches. People with disabilities, they can be exposed to any danger of being abused, of being raped, but they can't report because of all of us. It's not about them not being able to communicate, but it's all of us because we're not sensitized enough to be able to accommodate them so you can hear their issues and hear their voices at the end of the day. It is. It is. And it's sad. Yeah, it is. And sad. It's one of these issues I feel the government is still dragging their feet in terms of addressing issues of disability in our country. We are still, it's good to talk about things, but in actions, things are not really happening. And we have a Domestic Violence Act.
Yeah.
How often are people who are blind being educated about that? Do they know their rights? Are they taken through the protection order forms in guma, what do you call that thing? Yes. Do we have that? Do we have it in a very, very lame, in a basic community on, we need to go to a Pretoria somewhere in some other place where a person can read that. So hence I'm saying as a country, you're not proactive in terms of disability. So then hence we're still going to have women and girls and boys and men who are being abused because ubaba ongezwe endlebeni ongakhuluma, how is it going to go to that police station say I've been raped? Yeah. Do you think someone's going to believe them? No. So we're still unsensitized when we still have a long way to empower ourselves as a country.
Do you believe that people living with disabilities are more exposed to GBV?
Personally, I believe so. I'm not sure about the stats, South African stats, because our stats is a mess as a country. But personally, as a GBV activist, I believe that. I believe there are a lot of cases that affect someone with disabilities, but they're not known. they are not recorded, they're not reported for the same reasons that I spoke about. We still have a lot of things that we need to do. Sensitized from basakhula basebancane uthi you have a right to speak, no one has a right to touch your body, because people take advantage. Ukuthi lo mntana akekho umuntu ozombelieve, lo mntana akekho umuntu ozomlalela, because from our homes sometimes we don't really give some time to understand abantwana bethu abanama-disability. And that umntana mangam-understand wena ekhaya, who's going to understand that child outside there? If umntana phuma erumini lakamalume laphana umntana uyakhukha uyakhala, do you think people are going to pay attention if umntana une-autism? No one's going to pay attention. Because that's how we categorize them, So I feel there are a lot of cases, but unfortunately, we don't have stats for that because sometimes it's difficult for them to report.
Yeah. So sibuyele emuva ugeli lo waba blind manje, manito blind. Sekanjani manje?
No, when I chose a case because I was working at tennis, I'm no longer working that much at tennis. I was working at court. When the case was finalized, he was still blind. And can you believe she wanted to withdraw charges? Because now the boyfriend was saying, I'm going to take care of you. You're blind now, you can't work, you can't do anything. So I'll take care of you. So if I'm going to jail, who's going to take care of you? So we had those struggles now to take her to counseling so that she can understand, the crime was committed. And as a result, now you have a disability, So you need to stand up, you need to hold this person accountable.
So like Gaba akanayo family.
She was from Limpopo and here with a boyfriend. So she doesn't want to go back home. She wants to stay with the boyfriend at Timbis.
Because maybe at home there's no opportunities or...
Besides, remember abuse, the second engine. Most of the abuse are attached to emotional abuse. Yes, you have physical, you have sexual, you have emotional. We have financial, but they all go back to psychological abuse because the moment umuntu amyesa umqondo wakho, the moment aclouda umqondo wakho, ashintsha the way indlela yokucabanga ngayo, it's not going to be easy for you to realize that I've been abused. It's not going to be easy for you to go and report because that person now says esandleni sakhe, like ushintshe the way yokucabanga ngakhona and minimize the abuse. Ukuthi hayi into manje ngikushaya manje uphuma izinyo say now senza ngathi issue uzoba right ufake false. Now we get into that space ukuthi no uzongifaka false ngizoba right ethi ngihamba peace. So it was that thing ukuthi lo muntu wadla nomqondo wakhe, he abused her, he manipulated her in a sense ukuthi lo mntana feel ukuthi there's no life without him. So I need to ukuthi kunicala ukuthi lo muntu azohlala namasala mina leya.
Ibuhlungu.
Yeah, it is.
Ibuhlungu because ayenzakali only to disabled people, iyenzakala nako abantu aba-right abanormal, and then umuntu abuse, emotional abuse. Ikhona ngisho vele emotional abuse. Yeah, okay. Anyone who experiencing abuse, what channels can they take?
The first step is to start to be in an abusive situation because most often people don't report because they don't want to. Stand some love, all love is so.
Yes.
So we stuck in that. Ngiyangithanda my flowers last time. I've been in this marriage for 18 years. We stuck in that cycle. We stuck in that thing. But we don't assert it. My so rough. It's no longer love. Now it's abuse. I'm being abused and letting young family parent. So the first step to people who are being abused is to accept that I'm in an abusive relationship or I'm being abused. So it can be able to report because you'll never report if you don't accept. Because sasena ukuthi nalento abantu bazothi, bazongihleka abantu ukuthi hawu washada ngehelicopter lapha emshadweni, So it's very important for you to accept so it can be able to speak. I'll encourage victims of gender-based violence to talk about it. The first step is talking about it. Irregardless that people are going to judge you, irregardless that people will never take you seriously. But the first thing to healing, the first thing to be free in that abusive relationship is talk about it. Tell someone. You can go and report to the police station. You can go and report to the church because now we train pastors on gender-based violence. We train traditional healers on gender-based violence because that's thinking women social. So we train them so that they can be sensitized and understand the gender-based violence. They need to do. Bathumela abantu ema-courts, bathumela abantu ema-police station. Umuntu angeke usolve gender-based violence. Umuntu angagcina abulewe at the end of the day. And they are so proactive. They're assisting us in that regard. Some pastors, some traditional leaders, some traditional healers, in terms of addressing this elephant in the room. So they can go to the hospitals. Our hospitals have ama-tutuzela centers. We can go to the clinics. Our clinics have psychologists and counselors, and counselors. They can go to a police station. Our police station have NGOs that are working on gender-based violence. They have ama brigades that are hired by social Department of Safety, where they are volunteers in helping GBV victims. They can also go to friends who knows better, who can support them. And the one thing in Funubusha is that If umuntu eza kuwe akutshela ngokuhlukumeza, don't stand there and advise.
Yeah.
She doesn't want advice. She's telling you because she wants someone who's going to believe them.
Yes.
Who's going to hold their hands. Who's going to be there and say, I believe you. Regardless, ukuthi pastor, minister, driver, imoto thiza, donate sonto nwenzani, mina I believe what he's raping every night. That's the only thing that they want. So for us to believe them and for them to talk about it, but for them to talk about it is for us not to judge them so that they can trust it, the system and the process,
and to listen to them.
And also remember, reporting is not the end of that one. Reporting goes along with also finding NGOs that can support them, GPV activists that can support the case monitoring and case processes. Because remember, people have lost justice in the system. They've lost faith in the justice system and all, so we need to support them as NGOs and also as activists to say, hold people accountable, hold them police accountable, hold them social worker, hold them clinics accountable, and the court with the justice system must prevail, must make sure that people get justice at the end of the day.
That was it.
So it's a trip. It's a road trip and people think Mavuli case, that's it. There's still a lot of things that follows. That's why people because there's a road, it's heavy, there's a road. But with you and I supporting them, we can win the scourge of gender-based violence in our country. And remember, it begins with you and I. You just need to realize there's violence where in.
That was, I didn't know some of the things ngizizwile that was educational. I hope nasendlini bakuzwile. So like if umuntu njengamso udinga usizo, where do I get you?
I'm not sure I can need my numbers for this one to call me. My numbers are 072 327 1650. 072 327 1650.
Does it use WhatsApp?
Yes, it's WhatsApp. Actually, I prefer WhatsApp, no calls.
Mrs. Chris, we've got. Where would you like to go? Traveling. Traveling. Yeah, where would you like to go?
Sure. I think Pumanang.
So that's good. Next door.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just shocked. You asking such a question that I never thought someone can ask me that. Anyway, exciting. Let me say that. Anyway, exciting.
Okay. So now we have a bit for you. Courtesy of Harvey World. Harvey World is the Harvey World traveling. Ne? They are the ones who are sponsoring us. So this is a gift from them. Ne? Small traveler, you're going to Ilana Ven.
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Also, we have Miss Judge, for the skincare. Yeah. So now, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate this and giving works met too. Thank you so much.
All right. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, review, call us on WhatsApp. All the details are right there below. Until next time, give our honors on Bona. Bye.